What do you need to pack to sail on a Disney cruise? Knowing what to pack for your cruise can feel daunting and overwhelming, but do not fear. In this video, I'm going to be sharing everything that you need to pack for you and your family, from clothing to accessories, electronics, essentials, toiletries, and more, including some top tips and secret items that you need to pack to make your cruise go more smoothly and make it even more magical. I'm currently in the process of planning and getting ready to pack for our next Disney cruise on the Disney Dream in August of 2023. And for my packing, I will be using my Magical Cruise Planner. You don't have to purchase one of these in order to pack and plan for your cruise. You can just write down a list of everything I'm saying in this video. You can head to the blog post, which I have linked down in the description with links to everything mentioned. So you could just print that out and tick that off. But if you want to grab your own Magical Cruise Planner to help you not just with packing, but with planning every aspect of your cruise, you can grab that in printed or digital format that can be printed out at home or filled in on a tablet, using the link to my planner store down below or by scanning the QR code on screen. The first thing that we're going to need to pack will be all of our documents. Now, which documents you need will depend on the specific cruise that you are traveling on, from where in the world and where you are heading on your Disney cruise. So in that blog post I've linked down in the description, I will link to the specific page on the Disney Cruise Line website where you can cross-reference which documents you need for your specific cruise. Please make sure you check that even if you've cruised before, in case there have been any changes. For our cruise, we are going to need our passports, because unlike when we sailed on the Disney Magic in 2021, which was a COVID cruise and technically just stayed in British waters, so we didn't leave the UK, on this next cruise we will be sailing to France, so we are going to need our passports. This is personal preference, but I like to store all of our documents, not just when going on a Disney cruise, but any Disney trip or any trip at all for that matter. I like to have printed versions of all of our documents, as well as digital copies stored on my phone, because you never know if your phone was to go missing or crash or have no battery left in it, then at least if you've got the printed documents, you've got that backup. So I like to have printed documentation for our parking, our hotel for the night before, and any of our cruise details, including reservation numbers, anything else I may have booked for the cruise. And I like to put all that into a pop-up folder and keep that in my hand luggage. These folders are quite handy because if you're given any menus or anything that you want to keep nice on your cruise as souvenirs, you can slot them into these folders and they're kept neat and tidy to take home to put in your memory boxes. Next item that you're probably going to want on Disney cruise is a lanyard. When you embark a Disney cruise, you're given a key to the world card, which acts as your room key to open your stateroom door, as well as your method of paying for whatever you buy on board that's not included, such as merch or additional alcoholic drinks, etc. Anything you pay for on the key to the world card gets added to your final bill, which you settle at the end of your cruise. But you're going to need your key to the world card on you at all times, every time you leave your stateroom, and having it on a lanyard is the easiest way to keep track of it. Now, previously we've had those little clip-in lanyard holders that work fine if you don't fiddle with them, but if you have small kids like I do that fiddle with lanyards, you may end up in a similar situation that we found ourselves in when we went to Disneyland Paris. I noticed the children's cards were popping out of these little holders, purchased some of the little zip-in pockets to attach the lanyards, and Zara's card had fallen out by the time we got back to the hotel. So lesson learnt, you're better off going for the card holders where your key to the world card is zipped in nice and securely. It's also worth noting that if you've cruised with Disney before, you are automatically a member of the Disney Cruise Line Castaway Club, and you'll be receiving welcome on board gifts in your stateroom, including lanyards. If you're a first-time cruiser, you're going to want to pack lanyards, or you're going to have to buy them on board. As a bonus tip, your key to the world card is going to need to be put into the slot next to the door in order to activate the lights in your stateroom. Now, obviously this is done by Disney Cruise Line in order to conserve electricity, which is great. But the problem with this is if you leave your key to the world card in your stateroom, you are unable to get back into your stateroom. In order to avoid this problem, I would take either an old key to the world card or any other credit card type card, probably not your actual credit card, but any other card such as a gym membership card, an old gift card, anything that is a plastic credit card shape will work just as well as the key to the world cards. You can still take it out of the receiver next to the door in order to conserve that electricity while you're out of your stateroom, but it means you can keep your key to the world card safely in your lanyard and you're not going to risk leaving leaving it behind in the room and getting locked out. So to pack for your Disney cruise, let's start at the very beginning, a very good place to start. You're going to need suitcases. Much like when you fly with an airline, there will be cases that you check in and then bags that you can take as carry-on. Your check-in cases, once deposited with the Disney Cruise Line during the check-in process, will arrive with you at your stateroom, but not necessarily straight away. That might be later on during the first day. And we'll get to why this is important in a second. So the two types of bags we're going to need are those suitcases for checking in and then the bags for hand luggage. We have the American Tourister Disney cases that we take on all of our Disney trips. So we've got a case each that we'll use as check-in luggage, and then we'll take small Loungefly bags for myself and each of my family as carry-on. I'm also going to take a small cabin-sized case as part of my carry-on, and I will explain what's going in there in a bit. The next item that you're going to need to pack is clothing, which I will touch on in this video, but I go into in lots more depth in my many Disney outfit videos, which are suitable for Disney parks and Disney cruise trips. So if you want some inspiration as to what to wear, I will link that playlist below and up in the cards. But in brief, you're going to need day wear, which can be more casual wear to wear around the pool. You're going to need more evening or formal wear for the formal nights, or if you're going for a meal in one of the adult-only dining restaurants. For most cruises, you're going to need a pirate night outfit, which is one of the times that adults are allowed to use costumes on a Disney cruise. People go all out for pirate night. We're really excited for it because we didn't have a pirate night on the last cruise because it was a COVID cruise. Make sure you're subscribed with bell notifications on so that you can see all of our pirate night outfits before we sail. Pirate night is actually the only time that adults are allowed to wear costumes on a Disney cruise unless there is another specific event. But generally, under 12s can wear costumes, and I would suggest packing costumes for kids if you are taking kids on a Disney cruise. But for over 12s, you can do Disney bounding. Disney bounding isn't a costume as such, it's a way of taking inspiration from the colour palette of a certain character and representing that character in your outfit. It's kind of fun. It's a great way to drag out the magic of your Disney cruise with a bit of outfit planning, make some great pictures, and it's a fun thing to get the kids involved in doing too. You're going to need swimwear for your Disney cruise. I'd suggest taking at least 2 different sets of swimwear. So if one is still soggy, you're not having to put on soggy swimwear, and you've got clean, dry swimwear to put on. And for your little kiddos, in addition to their swimwear, it may be worth packing an SPF vest for when they're out in the sun. You can take gym wear if you want to make use of the running track or the gyms on board. You're going to need PJs or nightwear, underwear. Footwear, I would suggest comfortable footwear. There will be a lot of walking on a Disney cruise. Those ships are big. And I definitely recommend taking some sort of jacket, spirit jersey, or something to keep you a little bit warmer, even if you're heading to one of the warmer destinations, in case it's a little cooler on deck at night. And also because the air conditioning can be quite ferocious in certain parts of the ship, so it may be slightly cooler even indoors. You're going to need to pack some Disney ears, although this is not compulsory. It's a really fun addition to your cruise. I actually got these ears on our last Disney cruise, and we do have quite a large collection of ears. I've had a few people actually asking, will I do a video about our ear collection and our Loungefly bag collection? Let me know if you want to see that video and I'll put it together. You're going to want to pack your kiddos' autograph books. This will be our first cruise with autographs. As I mentioned before, the first cruise we went on was a COVID cruise, as was our Walt Disney World trip in January of 2022. My kids' first experience with hugs and autographs was in Disneyland Paris, and they actually managed to fill up their entire autograph books in Disneyland Paris and bought new autograph books at the end of our last trip, so we will 100% be packing those. If you do love Disney vlogs, by the way, I have got extensive Disneyland Paris, Walt Disney World and Disney Cruise Line vlog series for you to enjoy. You're going to want to pack your camera gear for all those amazing pictures on a Disney cruise. Now obviously you can just utilize your phone as long as you have ample storage and battery on your phone. There is nothing more annoying than being about to take that perfect and magical photograph and realizing there is not enough storage. Obviously I'm going to be vlogging on the cruise, and you're not going to need quite as much in the way of camera gear as me, I would imagine. But for those that are interested, I will link all of my camera gear below because I do get asked about that quite a lot. Obviously, in addition to camera equipment, make sure you've got appropriate chargers, SD cards, and power banks. I always like to pack portable power banks in our bags for whenever we are going on Disney trips. It's worth noting that you are going to need adapters to convert your UK electrical equipment to be able to use with the American sockets. So you're going to need sockets that adapt to the American plugs. It's also worth noting that extension cables are not allowed on the Disney Cruise Line and will be confiscated from you. This is to avoid electrical fires, so it's a very important safety issue. So when you are purchasing adapters, make sure that they are not the kind with a lead, but instead just the kind that slot directly into the wall. These can have additional USB ports in them, and I definitely recommend getting some of these with the multi-ports on there so you can maximize the outlets in your stateroom. Make sure you have the correct cables that fit from the sockets directly into whichever devices you have too. If you want to see exactly what I am packing, I've got a pack with me already live on my channel from our last Disney cruise, but make sure you're subscribed with bell notifications on because I will be doing a full pack with me for this upcoming cruise. Hair tools. Now you're not going to need to pack a hairdryer. One of those will be provided for you in your stateroom. So although you might not need to pack a hairdryer, you may want to pack your hair straighteners or hair curlers. For most Disney Cruise Line routes, you're going to need some sunscreen. My personal brand of choice is the Sultan. I quite like the 8-hour version that I buy for my children, simply because we can put it on in the morning. It lasts 8 hours if they're not swimming or 3 hours if they're in the water, which is far better than having to top up every hour. I then have a roll-on version I can stick in my handbag to top up around the pool or later in the day. You're going to need to pack toiletries, but you're not going to need to overpack your toiletries because shampoo, conditioner, and body wash and hand wash are supplied for you in your stateroom. Now, apparently Disney Cruise Line are moving away from the brand that they've been using across the cruise line and the parks, but I've not yet seen any new brands come in. I know for our previous parks and cruise trips, we have loved the toiletries on board. So I'm sure whatever they replace it with will still smell amazing, but you're not going to need to pack those. You are still, however, going to need to pack whichever skincare, makeup remover. You're going to need your toothbrushes, your toothpaste, razors, and other toiletries that you may require. Don't forget to pack any medication you may require, including painkillers for both you and your kiddos, just in case, something for an upset tummy, potentially something for seasickness, which you can get in the form of a tablet. We've used the seasickness bands. We used them on the cruise and no one felt seasick. I'll be honest, we didn't suffer from it. Touch wood, hopefully we'll be absolutely fine again. But it's always worth having those things just in case. And don't forget to pack any regular medication that you may require. You might want to pack some door magnets. You are allowed to decorate your stateroom door with anything magnetic. You're not allowed to use glue, tape, or anything like that, but anything magnetic is perfectly allowed and in fact encouraged. This is a fun Disney Cruise Line activity to do, and also it's a really good way to find your stateroom door in long corridors of doors that look pretty similar. I will link some of my favourite ones below on Etsy. Another thing that's worth packing for a Disney cruise is magnetic hooks, so you can hang various things on the walls for your stateroom and keep it neat. Next thing is really important to take on a Disney cruise is a water bottle, or in fact, a few different types of water bottle, ideally. Quick service drinks are included in the price of your Disney cruise, as is room service, but drinks you order from room service are chargeable at an additional cost. By carrying a water bottle each, you can fill up your drinks on deck and take those back to your stateroom. I'll be taking insulated bottles that keep drinks cool, as well as non-insulated bottles that I can put into the fridge in the stateroom to keep our drinks chilled. Last time I also filled up water from the sink in the stateroom, and after keeping that in the fridge for a little while, it was absolutely fine to drink. You may wish to pack some alcohol. Disney Cruise Line guests aged 21 and over may bring a maximum of 2 bottles of unopened wine or champagne, or up to 6 beers on board at the beginning of the voyage and at each port of call. These beverages must be packed in carry-on and not checked in with your suitcases. Last time we took blankets for the children because we thought they may be a bit chilly on the veranda, but actually they just enjoyed having their own blankets, even though the sheets on the Disney Cruise Line are absolutely gorgeous. They enjoyed having their own blankets, a little creature comfort from home to snuggle into at night. You're going to need your sunglasses to get on the deck, so don't forget those, as well as prescription glasses if you're someone like me that doesn't really wear glasses that much, yet will probably need them if you're sitting far back enough in the show in order to actually see the faces of the performers. You're probably going to want to pack a little bit of entertainment for your kiddos. I will be going to all of this in a lot more depth when I do the actual pack with me, But generally, in my children's bags, and they all like to carry their own Loungefly onto Disney trips, but they always have a little notebook, a pen, ideally one of those clicky pens that has lots of different colours on it, perhaps a deck of cards such as top trumps, and some other little things to do in their bag. And this is ideal for times like when we're waiting around in the port to embark the ship. And if you have small kiddos, it may be worth taking a small pushchair or stroller. There are some to hire available on board, but there are a limited supply. This is not something we'll be packing because my youngest is now 6. And although it's not as much walking as the parks, the ships are big and you're going to be walking a lot more than you think you would. It's also probably worth taking an expandable bag for any overflow. So maybe you're arriving with a certain amount of luggage, purchasing rather a lot of merch, and then not fitting all of it into your cases. So make sure you have packed an expandable bag in case you end up buying quite a bit and going home with more than you arrived with. Something else you might want to pack are little pixie dust gifts. You can use these if you're involved in the fish extender scheme, where people meet on forums and Facebook groups and agree to gift each other little items into the bags left on the fish extender hooks outside each other's staterooms. Or you may just want to do what we did last time, which was pixie dust and gift little items to cast members that have been especially lovely to you, in addition to tips. It's quite nice to include gifts or snacks from where you are from, things that perhaps they wouldn't be able to get on the ship or where they'd come from. So for example, last time I took a lot of Marks and Spencer treats, which are very British sort of sweets. And a lot of the cast members, who mostly came from the States, wouldn't necessarily have been able to get hold of. The question is, what should you pack in check-in luggage versus hand luggage? Almost everything can go in your check-in luggage. The only things that will need to stay in your hand luggage will be your passports and documents, the alcohol you're allowed on board and your alcohol allowance, and anything you're going to need before your cases arrive at your stateroom, which could be later on in the day on embarkation day. So if you want to hit the pools as soon as you head on the ship, it is well worth packing swimwear in your carry-on luggage. If you want to see exactly what I pack for a Disney cruise, you can check out my Disney cruise packing playlist just over here. And if you want to grab the Magical Cruise Planner, check out my planner store just here. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all those YouTubey things, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Mwah.